They're watering crops with a sports drink?
Brawndo the Thirst Mutilator had come to replace water virtually everywhere. Water, the basic component of all life, had been deemed a threat to Brawndo's profit margin. The solution came during the budget crisis of 2330, when the Brawndo Corporation simply bought the FDA and the FCC, enabling them to say, do, and sell anything they wanted. Joe didn't know any of this, but he did see a problem that he might actually be able to solve.
For the last time, I'm pretty sure what's killing the crops is this Brawndo stuff.
The Brawndo's got what plants crave. It's got electrolytes.
So wait a minute. What you're saying is that you want us to put water on the crops?
Yes.
Water? Like out the toilet?
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be out of the toilet, but yeah, that's the idea.
But Brawndo's got what plants crave.
It's got electrolytes.
Okay, look. The plants aren't growing, so I'm pretty sure that the Brawndo's not working. Now, I'm no botanist, but I do know that if you put water on plants, they grow.
Oh, well, I've never seen no plants grow out of no toilet.
Hey, that's good. You sure you ain't the smartest guy in the world?
Yeah.
So let's go back.
Okay, look, you want to solve this problem, I want to get my pardon, so why don't we just try it, okay? And not worry about what plants crave.
Brawndo's got what plants crave.
Yeah, it's got electrolytes.
What are electrolytes? Do you even know?
It's what they use to make Brawndo.
Yeah, but why did they use them to make Brawndo?
Because Brawnd's got electrolytes.
In today's video, we're going to be talking about what is a fool. Okay, what is a fool? Now, I use this word not as an insult to demean someone or to put someone down, but as a way of classifying people, because there's people who dedicate themselves to the process, who dedicate themselves to true wisdom and understanding. And then you have the trolls, the people who just show up, see one thing that they don't like, and then they say some automated script, you know, they didn't even think it through, and then they just leave on about their business. That's what a fool is. A fool only sees images. They only see the appearance. They don't see the process of that appearance. Just like in that first clip, which that movie is called Idiocracy. I think it's a documentary, man. It's a documentary about what's going to happen. But you see in that first clip how that guy, he's just trying to get them to understand plants need water. And they've been programmed by their culture to think, no, they need electrolytes.
But Brawndo's got what plants crave.
It's got electrolytes.
Need the electrolyte. They're just repeating the slogan that they've heard somewhere else. They're not even understanding what the very thing that they're saying means. And then when the protagonist asks them, but why? Right? He starts questioning the purpose. Like, why? Why do they need electrolytes? Since you guys are saying it so confidently, why?
What are electrolytes? Do you even know?
It's what they use to make Brawndo.
Yeah, but why did they use them to make Brawndo?
Because Brawnd's got electrolytes.
You see, a fool is an inauthentic person who conforms to what everyone else is doing. That's what a fool is. It's just a robot. Someone that has no free will and an identity that's easily manipulated. Because everything in life requires a process. A tree takes processes to grow. Plants take processes to grow. Buildings, technology, all of it has a process behind it. And when you skip over processes, there's no actual weight behind the image. So these foolish people, they live in fantasies, right? They live in a world of fantasizing about other people and about their own ego and position in life, and they only care about hierarchy status and social status and how their peers view them, and that's what they care about. But they don't care about actually developing themselves. Now, why is it important for you to develop yourself? Well, within Hindu philosophy, there's a thing called your vasana, right? And this is a part of your personality that's created from grooves of repetitious actions that you make in your life. It causes a neurological pathway within your mind, which causes you to naturally incline to those actions. If you start out as someone who is addicted to something or somewhere, like these actions pile up, right? It creates the groove in the mind where it becomes harder and harder to stay away from those actions. This is why it's better to remain conscious in your life, because it's like a snowball effect where it rolls down and it collects more and more snow and it turns into like a big boulder of snow. That's how life is. A fool doesn't care about processes, so they're always going to be caught up in trouble. They're always going to have some type of turmoil, because they're not paying attention to the process. Everything is just going to get caught up with them. It's like if you got a bunch of projects, a bunch of homework for your school or whatever, and you wait until the last minute, and then you're like, oh man, I got to do this stuff for the deadline. I got to get this work done. I got to get that work done. That's how the fool lives, bro. A fool lives like that. They just wait until the last minute where they start feeling the pain and the struggles, and they're like, oh, well, now it's time to act. But they haven't been dedicating themselves to the process this whole time. So they're like a baby learning how to walk for the first time, trying to, keep up with all the work that they got now. And then they just give up, because how is a person who never dedicated themselves to a process gonna have the patience to go through the whole thing, like catch themselves up on the work that they've been missing? They're not. They're just gonna give up. I think that is just like life. I think that's just like we're spiritual beings having a human experience. We're in the university of life. This is a school, right? We get to learn things through our lives with reflection and stuff like that, right? We understand the story in which we're taking part of. But a lot of people, they live their lives blindly. They don't pay attention to none of it until the very last moment, until they die. And then their lives are being flashed before their eyes, and they're like, oh my God, oh man, oh, I'm so remorseful. You know what I mean? And then they try to do all the work, but they're dead. You can't do no work no more. You're gone. Some people, some of you guys, that will fly over your head like, yo, what is this guy talking about? And to some of you guys, you get exactly what I'm saying. You get 100% what I'm saying. I'm still trying to gauge my audience. I'm trying to see like where the paradigm is, because, coming across this gnosis and knowledge of the deep truth of life and stuff, it's hard to come across another person that understands that very truth. Because most people are too caught up into the context of religion, race, and gender that they can't understand or grasp concepts outside of what they're usually exposed to. And this is the reason why I pay attention to the programming, because once you dismantle the program of a fool, they have nothing left to say. They have nothing. I've seen it, man. Like, once you dismantle their thought process, they don't even know what to say anymore, because they don't think for themselves. So let me extra clarify myself. A fool is not someone who is innocent to the world, someone who is new to the world and new to things, and they don't know how things work and stuff. That's not a fool. That's just someone who's ignorant, someone who's not knowledgeable. But someone who's prideful, someone who's arrogant, like, I know everything and everything I know. Someone who leads with assumptions instead of investigating, right? Instead of figuring out. Now, I had a tarot wall right up. Matter of fact, let me show you. And I had like the whole tarot type community thing. And what I've realized from a lot of these people, right? And I think there's an actual science behind tarot. There's an actual placebo effect that takes place, but that's for another video. What I want to talk about is people who use astrological signs like, oh, you're a Pisces, you're a Cancer. Oh, that means you're this type of way. That means you're that type of way. It's all foolishness, because instead of processing a relationship with that person, getting to know that person through time, right? Instead of just judging them on the day that they were born, that's like space racism, bro. That's astrological racism. Like, you're being racist towards my date of birth. Instead of getting to know the person, they rather have these categories that they put people in. Like, oh, well, that person is a Taurus. That person is a Sagittarius. Well, you know how they get. It's just like saying black people. Like, oh, that person is a black person. You know how they get. Let me read you guys a passage that illustrates my point, gets my points across a little bit better, If thou be great among men, be honored for knowledge and gentleness. If thou seeketh to know the nature of a friend, ask not his companion, but pass time along with him, debate with him, testing his heart by his words and his bearing. That which goeth into the storehouse must come forth, and the things that are thine must be shared with a friend. Knowledge is regarded by the fool as ignorance, and the things that are profitable are to him hurtful. He liveth in death, and it is therefore his food. The fools live in this state of death, of constantly dying to their own foolishness, constantly dying to their own mental or emotional anguish, that they haven't resolved themselves. They haven't understood themselves through the trials, and so they self-destruct. Now, it gets even deeper than this, okay? Because Jesus even talked about these types of individuals. It's the people, the children of darkness. This comes from Matthew chapter 13, verse 24. Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, The kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares amongst the wheat, and went his way. But when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst thou sow good seeds in thy field? From whence then hath it tares? He said unto them, An enemy hath done this. The servants said unto him, Wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? But he said, Nay, lest while they gathered up the tares, ye root up all the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest, and the time of harvest I will say to the reapers, Gather ye together the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into the barn. Now taking it up from 38. He that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world, and the good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. The enemy that soweth them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels. This idea of fools, it gets very deep, because you have to understand there's a split when it comes to the desires of, or the motives of people on this planet. There are most people who are motivated by vanity, right? They're motivated by the vanity metrics, like validation, money, sex, drug, like things that please the senses. And then there's people such as myself who are motivated by love, motivated by living on valued energy. Because most people nowadays don't know what love is at all. Most people lack so much love in their life. They don't even know what to recognize it at. Like, they don't even know what that is. Like, this, they think love is obsession. But the minute that person they claim to love doesn't fit the idealization that they have in their heads of them, then they don't love them no more. Because they never paid attention to the process of a relationship and only paid attention to the image that they were giving to other people. Like, oh, look, I'm in a relationship. You know what I mean? It's something for them to talk about amongst their friends. When Jesus was talking about the tares and the wheats, and he gave that parable of the people and the harvest and all of that, that was to show that there's people who are of the world, naturally inclined to be of the world. They are motivated to just want to show off to other people. Those people are considered the tares in the field, because they're not there for a purpose. They're not there to produce crops or anything. They're just there to piss off the farmer. Because remember, the farmer, his enemy came across and threw some tares in the field to grow with the crops. The farmer in the parable that Jesus was talking about is God. And the tares and the crops are representations of us, the people within this world that are living our lives. And the harvest is the end of the world, is when all of this comes to an end. Now, fools only believe in one thing, what they can see, hear, and touch. That's it. That's more than one thing, but what they can see in the physical world, bro. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. So they only believe in this world. They only believe that this is it, that anything that they do here, that's it. And once they die, they will cease to exist. That is what a fool believes, that when they die, that is the end of their existence. That's false. Think about it like this. Before you were born, you technically didn't exist, but the material that consists of your body existed without you being conscious of its existence. So the atoms that make up my skin, my bones, my blood vessels, my blood, all of that, all the atoms that consist this body, that make up this body, was here before I was conscious of it ever being here. And when I die, the materials that make up my body will return back to the earth. But throughout that whole process, the consciousness that took over the matter, which was the body, that consciousness was never created in this world. It was never birthed. It was manifested through the matter, through the material, in order to have conscious control over matter, mind over matter. But the fool doesn't think in such a way. A fool identifies with his body, and so it becomes the reverse. It becomes matter over mind.